Hey, this is Jake. This week I got a clip from local public access television where my boss, Executive Director of Hope Street Youth Development, Aaron Fowler, was interviewed on a show called Peace Talks, which is hosted by the local Peace and Social Justice Center. Now, the tone of this video is slightly softer than some of my usual stuff, but that's what Aaron's good at. He's the good cop to my bad cop routine, where I go out there and kick some ass, and he puts a pretty bow on it and sells it to foundations so that I can keep my job. So, with no further ado, here is Aaron Fowler.
Can we talk about one of my favorite little subjects, and that's community organizing?
Oh, we can.
Okay, just a part.
Okay.
It's not what the whole program
That's
is
right.
about at Hope
That's right.
Street. I
That's
got that clear.
Right.
Today's newspaper had a story about some kids at West High School taking on the issue of the law enforcement at the security at the schools carrying tasers.
Right.
And I saw Hope Street mentioned there. One of my favorite stories was the water fountain in the park on Grove Street.
Right.
I heard that story and I loved it. I didn't know for a year and a half that there were Hope Street footprints on that.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about the power of organizing and what kids can do if they see an issue that bothers them and how they can make a difference with the city of Wichita?
I think number one is that young people need to understand that they do have a voice and they need to be engaged in their community. It's so easy to be apathetic, particularly as a young person. We're so into ourselves. But if there's an issue that you have concern about, you need to speak out on that issue. Whether it's you don't have a water fountain in your neighborhood park, whether it is you've got tasers now in your schools. And in fact, those students at West are not necessarily opposed to the tasers, although I think there are some that would say that. Those young people simply came to us and said, we have some concern about this. What do we need to do to get our questions answered? School suspensions. It was an issue of our young people. They raised it. We began that dialogue of engaging young people in change. 1958, summer of 1958, the very first civil rights sit-in happened in Wichita, Kansas.
Yes, few people know that.
Few people know that. Some of the textbooks have it all wrong. But it was at the Dockham building, and it was a sit-in by young people from our neighborhood. And we go back to that all the time about this is an example where there was a situation, young people said, this is not right. This is not justice. And they did something about it. And that's what our organizing is about.
Okay, I don't think you baited me into this, but I'm going here. Birmingham, Alabama.
Right.
Those black people that I grew up seeing hosed down and chased with dogs were middle school and high school kids.
That's right.
When Martin Luther Jr. was developing his plan, he was sitting not knowing what to do when these thousands of kids came out of that 8th Street Baptist Church into that park and blew the lid off what we were doing there.
If you look at many of the civil rights movements, or many of the social justice movements around the world, not just civil rights in the 50s and the early 60s, it was started by young people. I mean, they're the ones who have the passion and the energy. I was thinking about, preparing for this, I was thinking about, as children, we understand what justice is about. When we see our friends hurt, or when we see something that's not right, we want to make it right. That's what we do as children, and somehow we lose that. We either get it beaten out of us, or I'm not sure what it is, but we lose that sensitivity to what justice is about. And so in Birmingham, or in Wichita, Kansas, or in Tiananmen Square, it doesn't matter. It's young people who are saying justice now. And so that's what's exciting.
And in all fairness to old farts like myself,
I mean,
self-identified, so I'm off the hook with that. I've got a mortgage. I'm responsible for my family. I've got requirements that I have embraced from society that says I can't afford to get arrested this weekend because I've got to be at work to provide.
Right.
So as we get older and take on more responsibilities, it becomes difficult for us to take that risk, where young people often teach us the power of that, that lead in that.
Right.
So if people are feeling, if young people in Wichita today are feeling anger, or feeling put upon, or feeling they don't know what to do with what they perceive as injustice in their life, Hope Street would be a place that they could come, meet other people who might share their opinion, find a way to mold that into self-development, self-growth, and change, as opposed to just anger that may explode in the streets inappropriately. Or we've only got about a moment left. What one thing would you like to add? What would you like to finish up this program with that I haven't covered?
Well, we talk a lot about providing opportunities for young people. I think one of the things that I would leave with the adults that may be listening is to move beyond the fear of what young people might do if they became empowered. If they got self-knowledge, if they got this sense of wanting to do something, don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of that. Hope Street provides that safe place.
I consider Hope Street one of the jewels of Wichita. I consider it one of the really powerful moving forces here, and I'm very happy that you've come today. I would like to welcome you back some other time to talk in more depth.
We could do a whole thing on organizing.
Oh, I'd love it. But also individual development would be great. Aaron, thank you so very much.
Yeah.